As promised, it's the Rest of the News Terrific Thursday edition. This is Dan Earhart. How will Illinois ever find anybody that wants to be governor? 4 of the past 5 went to prison. Who's next? Parents today are getting newborns their own URLs, email, and Twitter accounts while they're still wet behind the ears. Dr. Ron Paul wins the Twitter primary from 1.1 million posts about the candidate. 55% were positive, just 15% negative. All the other candidates had much higher negatives out of the 20 million political posts on Twitter from May through November. Yeah, Pew Research reads them. Today is Duane Allman's birthday, and from there it goes downhill pretty fast. Tonight is the night 31 years ago John Lennon was murdered. He was 40 years old. It's one of those events that people remember where they were and what they were doing when news of his death came across on the TV. He and Yoko had just recorded the song Walking on Thin Ice and were coming home to the Dakota on West 72nd in New York. Huge, spontaneous memorials occurred seemingly everywhere. Today, December the 8th, 1941, Franklin Roosevelt spoke to Congress for 6.5 minutes, including the words December 7th, a date which will live in infamy. 33 minutes later, war was declared on Japan. In the infamy speech, FDR said, "We must now turn every effort to building the greatest and most efficient Army, Navy, and Air Force in the world." 81% of American homes listened live on radio. Barbara Orbison died in Los Angeles yesterday on the same day, plus 23 years, as Roy. She was German. They met in Leeds. She continued to run his Nashville publishing company, which last year had Taylor Swift's hit, You Belong With Me. Opportunity, the little Martian rover that keeps going and going, has found conclusive evidence that Mars used to have water. After driving 26 miles in 8 years, Opportunity has found a vein of gypsum, a couple of inches wide and a couple of feet long. That's the stuff drywall's made out of. Opportunity's lead scientist says there was a fracture in the rock, water flowed through it, gypsum was precipitated from the water, end of story. So, what happened to all the water? Why is Mars bone dry? Ancient Martians used to listen to talk radio. They believed those buffoons who said global warming is a hoax. Well, it was mighty handy to have Mars 2.0 to come to. Of course, we now know it simply as Earth. Trying to prevent another such tragedy, fishermen from coastal communities of the Indian Ocean are represented at the climate change talks this week in Durban, South Africa. In their very real world of survival fishing, warming and more acidic waters are destroying the coral reefs which house the fish. Many species are producing very low rates of juveniles, so it's not looking good. Meanwhile, at the talks, the 2 big boys at the table, the U.S. and China, can't agree to do anything until the other side does, and that's been going on 17 years. The European delegate yesterday said, "It's really frustrating to see this conference again hijacked by the ping pong game. Sure is handy that NASA has found Earth 2.0 with 2.5 times the real estate and a perfect climate." The meeting that may lead to the demise of the euro begins today in Brussels. The director of the Center for European Reform says France is definitely subordinate to Germany, and Britain has less influence than at any time. 2011, this year, saw the Arab Spring, then the summer riots in England, then Occupy Wall Street, and now the Russian winter. Protests are really growing in the streets of Moscow. 1,500 people Tuesday evening, not enthusiastic about 12 more years of Putin. He used to be wildly popular, but now it seems enough already. Well, Vladimir, they're always looking for a governor in Illinois. Thanks for listening to the rest of the news. Come back tomorrow for Fabulous Friday and bring a friend. This is Dan Earhart.